All right, let's jump right in. We're starting at a wedding feast, a huge celebration. But a social disaster is literally about to unfold. It's a story about empty wine jars, a mother's quiet confidence, and a moment that becomes known as the very first sign. Let's get into it.
So, picture this. You're at this incredible wedding, the party is going strong, and then the unthinkable happens. The wine runs out. Now, in that culture, this wasn't just a minor hiccup. No, this was a huge social embarrassment for the family throwing the party, a failure that people would talk about for years.
So that's our first part, a wedding and a really big problem. The scene is totally set for what could have been a social catastrophe.
Okay, so here are the quick facts. We're in a little town called Cana in Galilee. Jesus is there, so is his mother, and his disciples are with them, all as guests. But right in the middle of this happy celebration, they hit a wall. The problem? The wine was completely gone. Party over, right?
Well, this crisis leads to a pivotal moment. Let's call it a mother's instruction, where one quiet conversation is about to change everything.
So, who's the first one to notice this disaster in the making? It's Jesus' mother. And she doesn't panic, she doesn't cause a scene. She just walks over to her son and states the facts. They have no more wine. It's so calm, so direct. You can just feel her confidence that he's the one who can solve this.
Now, Jesus' reply is fascinating. He says, "Woman, why do you involve me?" First off, calling her woman sounds harsh to us, but back then, it was actually a formal, respectful way to address her. The real kicker is the second part. My hour has not yet come. It's like he's hesitating, saying, hey, it's not time for me to go public with who I am just yet.
And this is where you see his mother's total faith. She doesn't argue, she doesn't push back on his hesitation. She just turns to the servants and gives this incredibly simple, powerful command. Do whatever he tells you. It's like she already knows it's a done deal.
Which brings us to our next part, the 6 stone jars. The focus shifts from talking to doing, and it all revolves around a really simple command, but honestly, a monumental task for the staff.
The text is super specific here. There are 6 of these jars. And get this, they weren't for wine. They were these huge stone jars used for ceremonial washing, for purification rites. This detail is so important. He's about to take something used for religious ritual and turn it into something for pure celebration.
And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, each one of these jars held 20 to 30 gallons of water. So in total, that's somewhere around 180 gallons. This wasn't just about making a little more wine to top people off. This was an act of overwhelming, almost unbelievable abundance.
So what are Jesus' instructions? They're almost bizarrely simple. Step 1, fill these giant ceremonial jars with regular water. And the text says the servants filled them to the brim. I mean, they did exactly what he said. Step 2, okay, now draw some out. Step 3, take it to the guy in charge of the party, the master of the banquet. No magic words, no big show, just these practical steps.
And that leads us right to the climax of the story, the first sign revealed. This is the moment where the quiet obedience of a few servants leads to some very public astonishment.
So just imagine, you're one of those servants for a second. You followed these strange instructions. You know you just filled those jars with water, and now you're carrying a cup of it over to the head caterer. The big question on everyone's mind who's in on it is, what is this possibly going to taste like? And here's the payoff. It's incredible. The master of the banquet, the guy who knows good wine, he tastes it and he is completely blown away. He actually calls the bridegroom over and basically says, "What are you doing? You broke all the rules of party planning. Everybody serves the best wine first, but you saved the absolute best for now?" So the water didn't just become wine, it became top-shelf, premium quality wine. This creates such a great moment of what we call dramatic irony. The master of the banquet has no clue what just happened. He thinks the bridegroom is a genius planner and gives him all the credit. But the servants, they know the truth. They're the only ones, besides Jesus and his mother, who know that this best wine was just plain water a few minutes ago.
So why does all this matter? Well, the text tells us exactly why. It calls this event the first of his signs. Now, a sign isn't just a magic trick. It's something that points to a much deeper reality. This whole thing wasn't really about saving a wedding party. It was about revealing who he was. The text says this sign revealed his glory, and the effect was immediate. His disciples believed in him.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? You have this very ordinary problem, The party needs more joy, more wine, and is met with this over-the-top, transformative abundance. It all started by taking something common and ceremonial and turning it into something truly extraordinary. And it kind of leaves us with a bigger question to think about. What happens when our own ordinary problems meet an unexpected, extraordinary solution?